What's up? Hey there. I'm Grant. This is the G-Star Creative channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing some of my subscribers' work and critiquing it and mostly talking about composition, but also just talking about what I think people can improve on. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm no expert. I don't claim to know everything. I don't claim to be good at this, but I'm just giving my critiques, what I might change. You can take it or leave it. You can hate on me in the comments. Feel free to tell me that I'm wrong about all this stuff. But if you want your stuff critiqued by me or advice, send it to me on social media. If you want to be in the next critique video that I do, if this turns out well, send it to me and let me know. Maybe you will be in the next critique video. So let's jump right into it. So we're just gonna go down the list of the work that different people sent me, and I'll just give you my critiques and thoughts one by one. So this was sent in to me by 45 Creative, Liam Rennie, I believe. Liam Rennie, I'm not really sure. Oh, from Australia. That's cool. I really want to go to Australia. My favorite YouTubers are from Australia. If you know about Hayden Pedersen, North Borders, 7th Era, they're awesome photographers and just seem like super cool dudes. So shout out Australia. But anyway, yeah, this is Liam. He is available for freelance. This is some of his work. So let's jump right in. So this is a pretty cool graphic. Rugby. I don't see a lot of rugby stuff. This is cool. I've seen Design with Dan do some stuff and he's really good. So his stuff obviously looked amazing, but he did some rugby stuff anyway. So let's see. I like the composition of this. So first off, just like straight out of the gate, like it's a cool looking graphic. I like the composition. You've got like what looks like a versus graphic, this team versus this team, and kind of just like split in half, and you know the wording is like pretty easy to look at. It's like my eye goes to these two big players first, and then these little guys, and then round one, and that's basically all you really need. I mean, like here are the details, which is great. So like you have the cutouts, the smaller cutouts, which lead your eye down to round one, and then the like smaller information that doesn't need to be big, but like if you want to know the details, it's on there, so that's good. Then we have, I guess, like sponsors and whatnot up here. So I'd say compositionally, to me, it looks pretty good. Like I like the setup. I don't really have any complaints with the setup. But as far as other critiques go, I would say like the lighting on their eyes looks a little bit funky. I'm not really sure. I think what I would do is like maybe I just wouldn't put any lighting on their eyes. I mean, it is like, I know you're like just going for a cool effect, so like there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it could be like a little bit cleaner looking, maybe like if you used, I mean, I'm not really sure. I'm just thinking through ideas here. I would maybe use no, I wouldn't go that route. I would probably just do a like curves layer. I mean, obviously they have the stuff on their eyes already now, so you can't really go back, or I can't really go back and change that, and then like invert the layer mask and paint that in over their eyes. Because right now it just looks like kind of like color without, like it just needs more like glowiness, I think. It looks kind of just I think it could just be like cleaned up a bit. So I'd probably like remove it, then put like a curves layer on there, and make their eyes like glow a little bit, and then maybe like just change their eye color to the team color, and then maybe put like another layer of like the color you want, so like that green on top of that, and set it to screen or something. I don't know how that would look, because obviously I can't go back and like change what you have. Maybe if I moved it just like over skin, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I don't know, could work. I mean, you kind of see how it's like a green glow like on his skin right here, versus like it's not really like glowing on his eyes. Like it just looks like almost like a darkish green, and kind of the same for him. And there's like a little bit, but I think it could be brighter. Like you need something like this over here, like the way this looks with like the really bright light and like blue glow kind of coming off. Anyway, I think the lighting concept was like good. Like you have them like backlit with their colors and then kind of like fading onto each other from the backlights. I mean, maybe that like the edge lighting could be a little bit cleaner. Like it looks good to me, especially on the front guys. Like I think the front guys, the lighting on them looks pretty good. For some reason, it looks a little bit. It looks like not quite as clean on the back guys, or not quite as like realistic, I guess. So maybe just working on lighting with these two big cutouts. This light is like a little bit weird. I don't know what it is. I think it's just, I don't even know if you need that light. I don't know. Something about this, just because it's white. I don't know. Something about it is just throws me off a little bit. And I mean, like this orange glow down here, not really sure that you need that either. Overall, like it's a cool graphic, some cool effects. Compositionally, I think it looks good. I think it's just like cleanliness and neatness. Maybe using like higher quality cutouts would help. Like higher quality photos, and like the edges right here. I mean, like this kind of looks like it's like part of his arm like getting like cut off right there or something. Like his cutout's not like super neat, so it could be a little bit neater. I think overall, pretty cool stuff. So we'll move on to Cooper. Cooper's got a bunch of stuff that he sent me. I think all this is from Cooper Comstock. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure I got all this from Cooper. So I'll just break it down one at a time. So this one's pretty good. Composition's pretty good. You have like, so my eye like immediately goes to like these 3 photos and then this name. I think like, yeah, I would say it's pretty neat, like compositionally, because I like that they're all the same size. I don't think they need to be like different sizes to where your eye like needs to pick one out. But so I like that. They're clean photos. It looks like sort of like a Polaroid photo look, so that's cool. And then his name below, and then like some little details down here. Yeah, like what you did with like the grass and stuff and the ball. Super clean, pretty nice. Not sure what this like shadow is, so that's kind of weird. But I mean, I guess it gives it some, I mean, you have one over here too, so I guess it like gives it some depth. So I don't hate that, but it is kind of like, where's the shadow coming from? But yeah, I don't know. I like it. Yeah, I mean, as far as this one goes, I don't know that there's that much like that really sticks out to me to change. I'm doing kind of all these just from like instant reaction, like what comes to my mind. And I would say for this one, like it looks pretty good. I don't think there's too much I would change. So to go quickly, I'm just going to move on. So this is kind of the same look, same like Polaroid photos. Yeah, this one looks good too. Got the grass texture. This might be a little bit hard to read just because it's like smaller text, but you know, I'm not too picky about this stuff. Not everything needs to be like super readable, because like sometimes I send in graphics to people and they're like, oh, you can't read like every little detail. I'm like, well, if you send me like 15 paragraphs of text to put on something, it's not all going to be readable. Like you have to like argue with people about designing stuff, because you need to like take the viewer's eye from place to place, and you can't just have like a bunch of readable text on there. You need to have like, you know, a few pieces of like really readable text. Everything else should be either in the description or like caption of the graphic or whatever, or just like you can put it on the graphic, but it doesn't need to be like super readable. Like, I mean, if someone like clicks on it and like really looks at it, they should like probably be able to read it, which I can if I do that. But in my opinion, not everything on the graphic needs to be like, if you're just scrolling through Twitter or Instagram, clearly readable. Anyway, yeah, like this, you got the Polaroid camera on there. I mean, if I'm just trying to look for something to critique, like maybe the shading below this camera could be a little more realistic, or like maybe this camera could be like somehow fit in a little bit better, just like looks wise, like if you put some effects on it, because like you have these like photos on the grass, they kind of look like they're like blended in, but this camera looks like really clean, and the shadow below it is like basically just like a rim shadow. So this camera could be like placed in there a little bit more realistically if I'm just trying to be picky. But I mean, I would say, you know, it's not too big of a deal. Compositionally, I think it looks good. I mean, like you have like the main text here. This is what you're looking at. You've got like the surrounding details. Looks good to me. So let's move on. Okay, so this is cool. It's a car design on like a wood table. I like doing stuff like this. I would say like compositionally, still pretty good. So you've got like one thing, like my eye immediately goes here, and then here, and then here. So like, I think that's good. The car designs look really good. I don't know if you like made all these from scratch. I'm just assuming you did. Yeah, I mean, I'd say for football card designs. It looks like one you would like buy from the store. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe the only thing that I might change is like pencils and the lighting on them and like the shadows below them could be made a little bit more realistic, I guess. But like that's like picky. Like, you know, if you have like this shadow below the pencil wouldn't be the same exact shadow on the card because there'd be a little more depth in between them. So you could put like a little more extension or like a little more extension off the card and a little more like darkness on the card. Because it just looks like it's kind of like the same shadow going across the card and the table. But again, that's picky. I think this looks good pretty much as is. So yeah, we'll move on from that one. So this one we talked about. I think the concept of this graphic is like cool. I just don't know if I love like the way it's set up because it just doesn't like, I don't know, something about it. Like I just don't like how half of like the upper half of like all four of them are down here like pushed together. I think like if the trophy wasn't in there, it would look pretty good because like they look like they fit in with like where they're standing with the stadium. The trophy just has like a lot of contrast and the rest of the photo doesn't have as much contrast. So like the darkest area in this photo is like in here somewhere or over here. And the darkest area on the trophy seems to be a lot darker. And I would say like the same for them. Like they look like they blend in with the photo, but not so much with the trophy. And I get the idea. Like I would say, I feel like I would just rather have like no trophy and like text up here. Battle for the ship or something. I don't know. Just random. I mean, yeah, this is not gonna look great, but just trying to, if you had like some 3D text up here or like something up here, that could work. I feel like the trophy just needs to have like less contrast. So if we just select it and then we do that, bring the blacks up. I mean, that looks like if you bring the blacks up, that looks a little more realistic to me. Yeah, I mean, that looks all right. I feel like there's just a lot of like dead space up here. And I just feel like the cutouts could just be, there's just like a more exciting way to do this. Like having them all at the bottom with half of like the tops of their bodies. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it just like doesn't really excite me, I guess. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a preference thing. So like, you know, you don't have to take everything I say seriously, but we'll move on from that. Yeah, I would just say like, I think I would just do it differently and use like more of their bodies. I don't know. So for this one looks pretty good. I think he said it was like based off of, or sort of like based off of that one video I made of the NCAA football cover. So, I mean, yeah, like it looks good to me. Maybe even better than mine. Yeah, I like the shading. So like, I think compositionally it looks pretty good. So you've got like the main, this is where my eye goes first with just like some details on the sides, and then it would go here next. Cause I mean, like the controllers are not super attention grabbing, so they're just like extra details, which is good. So I would say compositionally it looks pretty good. Like it's not super cluttered, which is good. I like how you designed the disc and the cover with like the plastic wrap and the barcode and everything. Like I'd say it looks pretty good. I mean, yeah, if I'm like trying to be picky, maybe like the shadows or lighting could be a little better, but like that's just me like trying to be even more picky than like I would be on my own graphic. But yeah, so I would say that looks pretty good. Okay, so for this TCU graphic, so this one I think compositionally could be better, but I think it's just because this and like the two logos seem kind of just like randomly placed or something, and I don't know how I feel about like the blurred look. So like if you remove the two logos, I think this would be like a pretty good graphic, clean graphic. Compositionally looks pretty good. Yeah, like the shadows, I think maybe like the lighting on him or like the edit, like the photo editing or lighting on him could maybe be a little bit better. I'm not really even sure how. Again, like some of it comes down to just like how high quality the photo is. Yeah, I would say if like these logos weren't on here, it looked better. Or maybe like if you just took this one off or something and then had this one a little bit further over, that could work. I don't think you need both of them. And they just seem like this one's like super close to the edge. I'm not sure if it's like all the way off, but this one is too. So I don't know. I feel like if you just removed this one or made it like smaller and put it somewhere else, and then took this one and just like moved it to like here, kind of covering up this photo a little bit and still fully on the graphic, that would be clean. But compositionally, I think it looks good. I mean, like you have his face up here that you kind of look at. Maybe like I might would have used a little bit larger detail shot of him, or just zoom this picture in a little bit more, because like his helmet and like face here is like not too different in size from this one. I mean, like, yeah, obviously it's different by a little bit, but you could contrast a little bit more, like have a detailed shot of his face and his arm and like cut it off like here, like where his elbow is, or like a little bit below the elbow, just to give it like even more contrast. Because I think it's good to have like, you know, the big cutout, medium size cutout, and then like, you know, little one if you want to, but it's good without it here. But yeah, I would say like overall it's pretty good. I might just like remove one of these two logos or make one a little bit smaller. That's the other thing. So like they're the same size. And they almost like compete with each other and like, you know, him. So maybe like make one of them smaller and move it somewhere else or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I'll say for that one for now. So that was Cooper Comstock. Go check out his stuff, Cooper. You seem like a cool dude. So thanks for sending your stuff in. Let me know if you hate me now that I told you all the stuff that I would change about your graphic. So this is from Chris is Zach. So you can go check him out if you want to. So he sent me a few, but they're all kind of the same. So I'll just kind of critique, I guess, these two. But so I would say like compositionally it looks great. Again, like Cooper's graphics and this, like, we're very clean. This one's clean. Like, you know, when you're a beginner, it's really easy to just like put stuff everywhere and like be super cluttered. So like clean graphics in your first years of design, it's very easy to just put a bunch of stuff everywhere and think it looks cool. So it's good to see that you guys are making like clean graphics. So for this, I would say like it looks good. It's like clean. I mean, yeah, I don't know that I would change too much. I mean, maybe you could like add some stuff. You don't need to though. I think like what would help them is like maybe like higher quality images, and I mean you could add like some like more little like detail things around the graphic. It doesn't need it though. Like it looks good as is. It's very clean as is. So I don't know, maybe I would add like a gradient to these two colored bars. If I was making like an app state graphic or something, I might add some like stars in here and in here. Maybe like put a grain on the white background. That might make it look like, I really like that look. A lot of people are using that lately, but it kind of just makes it that like sparkly clean look. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but if you know, you know. I mean, yeah, I would say for both of these, like there's not too much I would change. Compositionally looks pretty good to me. You have like the cutout, tiny name, doesn't need to be big. A lot of people put like humongo names everywhere. I like that. So Trey Jenkins, I like the change in weight of fonts. That's good. Logo down here, fade up, sitting in the background. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if anything, I would just like try and spice up a little bit more. But again, you don't need to change anything. It looks pretty good as is. Sorry about the camera cutting out. Okay, so this stuff is from Hunter Voss, I believe. Okay, so yeah, Hunter Voss. Thanks for sending in the stuff, the good stuff. Yeah, some of this stuff looks really cool. Let's start with this one. So this is a cool looking graphic. I almost just want to say like this doesn't really need anything. I like the composition, and I mean, yeah, the look of the graphic is like pretty cool. I don't know, I could be like picky with some stuff. Maybe the like transition from this whatever he's standing on to background, or like this is a little bit weird, or like could be like transitioned a little cleaner. I think I like the transition from like here to the other background. Maybe the like color could be matched a little bit better, but I mean, then again, the color doesn't always need to match, I guess. In this case, I feel like it's like so similar though that like you could, and it might make it look a little bit cleaner. Yeah, I like the baseballs. I mean, obviously my eye goes to him first. The text is good. I think maybe like, so maybe the V could be a little bit smaller, and kid could be like the heavier weight font. And I mean, this looks like an image. So you can't really change where stuff is, probably. But ideally, this like rocket ship or whatever's happening here would have been a little bit lower, and the kid would be like above it. I don't know, maybe like kid could be above, could be like up here where the is, so you can see what's happening right here. The would be like small, like maybe like up here right beside the top of the K, the kid, and then it could just all be up here where the is. And that might make it look like a little bit cleaner, because I think the text like maybe would just look better if it was changed like a little bit. Like I think that the probably needs to be a little bit smaller, and like the location could be a little bit better, like just like all up here where this is, instead of like covering up this ship. But I don't know, I think it like all together looks pretty good. Like you matched him with the background color, so that's good. Overall, it's pretty sick graphic. Maybe you could like put some lighting on these asteroids, because like they're kind of backlit from this, but also there's some light coming from here, so they look like really dark, and I'm not sure if they would actually be that dark, you know. I don't know, something to think about, something to mess with. Overall, it's a really cool graphic. So yeah, so let's see, this one composition looks good. So your eye goes to this big guy, smaller guy, smaller guy. Maybe like if I'm being picky, you can make this guy a little bit smaller and this guy a little bit smaller, so it's just like a little more contrasted between cutouts. But yeah, like compositionally, I think it looks really good. So like your eye goes here, here, here. You read the name, the smaller, or the first name is smaller in a different font. I like that. The glow, I don't know if I love the glow on the name. Seems like maybe unnecessary just for like what the graphic is. Yeah, maybe I would just take off the glow on the name, because I just don't think it needs it in this particular graphic. I'm not sure if you put some white lighting back here, but I don't know if it needs that either. I do like the trophy, and the background stadium image looks good. I think maybe his like shadows could be a little more realistic looking. It kind of looks a little bit like he's floating, but yeah, again, just like being picky. Yeah, maybe the background is a little less contrasty than him, so like I would either put some more contrast on the background or put a little less contrast on him, like I was doing with that trophy earlier. But yeah, like overall looks pretty good compositionally. I feel like it looks pretty good. Again, I'm not like no composition expert by any means, but to me, composition is just like making sure nothing competes with other things that's gonna like confuse the viewer. You just kind of want to like take their eye from one place to the next. But anyway, this is a cool card graphic. I kind of just don't say anything about this. This looks like pretty good, pretty clean. Looks like a card you'd buy in the store. I like the design behind him, super cool. I don't really think anything like needs to be changed. I'll just say one thing, and like this doesn't need to be, because like you have a shadow behind him, which makes sense. Like it looks like he's just like in front of this background, and that's great, that works. You could try, like instead of putting a shadow behind him, putting lighting on him from this like light source, which would like make it look like he is there with this light source, versus like right now it looks like he's like standing in front of a background that is in space or something, which is fine, something to try. But anyway, composition I think looks good. You know, obviously look at him, cool picture and graphic. You go down to like his name down here, got the signature. Yeah, I won't say anything else. It looks pretty good. Good job. This one also looks good right off the bat. I would say maybe you could make one of these cutouts a little bit bigger, like this one back here. Maybe like extend his leg out to here, and his head would be like up here or something, kind of making him like standing on the border of this graphic, and make this guy a little bit smaller, just a little bit up front. So I can read Pete Alonso. New York Mets is pretty tough to read. Not that you need to be able to read it, but I don't know. I might make it like a different color. First baseman, you can read that because it's white. I would make the orange a different color, or do something different with that to make it readable. I mean, you don't need to be able to read it because it's Mets, which is like, you obviously know that, but it's like text there and you're like wanting to read it. So I don't know, maybe make it a little more readable. Yeah, I would say everything else like looks pretty good. If anything, like I might do something to the background, put a gradient on it or something, make it a little more interesting. But the card design looks cool. I like the sleeve, you know, the casing, all that stuff. I think compositionally it looks pretty good. We'll leave it at that. So for this one looks pretty good. I would maybe say you just like don't need these two guys up here, especially not this guy, because like I like this, and then like being able to see the stars. Yeah, I feel like you need like one or none of these two dudes up here, because realistically like card designs are super clean usually, I feel like. So if you remove both of these two dudes and you just had the flag, the background, and him, I think that's like interesting enough. You got like Washington Nationals right here. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I would maybe like make one of these two things smaller or put them in different places, like one in this corner or like and one in this corner, to give them a little bit of separation, because they kind of compete with each other and seem like a little bit oddly placed maybe. Yeah, so maybe change the position of like these two things or the size of these two things. And honestly, I would just take out these two cutouts because you probably just don't really need them. NGY, thank you Hunter for sending in the goods. Jaren's a cool dude, so he sent in some stuff, and yeah, so go follow him if you want. Jaren Nathan. Hopefully I'm not butchering everyone's names, but you can tell me if I'm doing it wrong. This is the first time I'm like actually like interacting with people in a video, so we'll see how this goes. Jalen Hurts. Yeah, this looks pretty good compositionally. I feel like there's like a weird line right here or something. Not sure what's happening there. That might have been like part of a texture or something you put on here and put it on like a blending mode and didn't notice it or something, but I feel like there's a weird line right there. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I like this. So I like him up front with the words behind him, Jalen Hurts. I don't know, maybe I would like change one of the Hurts to something else, or like cut this one like halfway off or something. I mean, it looks fine as is. Maybe put a drop shadow on him to like make him pop off this background a little bit. I like the shading you put underneath him. Like, it's not super complex, but it works to me. The images look a little bit like grainy or maybe like low quality, and like the cutout right here looks a little bit not clean, which, you know, they're not always gonna be clean, but you know, this just helps if they're kind of clean cut around the edges. I'd maybe like use some shading behind him to like separate him from this cutout. Like, it'd be really nice if you had a super detailed shot of his face, because like this is a good up close shot, but it just looks kind of low quality. So if this one was a little bit higher quality, I mean, it looks like a really cool shot again if it was just higher quality. So I'd maybe like, yeah, have like a higher quality, or find a higher quality shot of him with like his big old head, and then this one looks cool too, maybe a little bit higher quality with a better cutout. This one looks good. There's just like some noise and like color noise or whatever you call it, like on him. So I feel like each of these could be a little bit higher quality, but I think the composition looks good. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty clean. Like, I like the space you left around it. So I would say overall, maybe find like higher quality photos, mess with the lighting and the shading on each of them. You could tweak the words too if you wanted to, or like change this one up. I don't know why, but it bothers me that there's like two outlines in one full. I don't know. It works. It just bothers me. So this one looks really good too. Like, it pops well. I like that you put a gradient on the name. Like, look at how much better that looks than like if it was just red. Like, it would be so much more boring if there was no gradient on there. So like that. Compositionally, I think it looks good. Like, your eye goes to him first. You see like Alex Crosby and his smaller cutout right here. If anything, like, you could make this a little bit smaller, but I think it works as is. I like the shading you put under his feet. Again, it's like simple, but it works. And the flag, that looks good. I mean, maybe like you could put the flag up here and like World Baseball Classic down here, just so the flag's not like more towards the ground. I don't know. It's just being picky, but I would say it looks pretty good. I don't know that I would change that much. I don't know if there's like, I can't really tell if there's like a drop shadow behind him on the rest of the stuff, but maybe you could put a drop shadow on this cutout to separate it from this background a little more. But yeah, really clean stuff, Jaren. So thanks for sending it in. Go check him out if you want. This video is going to be like 50 decades long, so we're going to try and speed up the process. So Mike Graphics, feel free to follow him. Check him out if you want. He sent me this. Thanks for sending that in. Okay, so this one's like a little bit cluttered, and it just seems like you don't need all three of these cutouts. So I would either make it like one Patriot and one Buccaneers, or two Buccaneers. So I think you need to like, I would take out one of these cutouts. Like, compositionally, they're all close to the same size, so they kind of compete with each other and they like fill up the whole frame. So like, I would say remove this one or put him up here. Even I really like this cutout in the back. Like, it just looks good. It looks like a good photo. So maybe like remove this big one or something and put this one where he is and make it like a lot smaller. You could leave the signature, I guess. The Tom Brady with the stroke around it looks a little bit cheesy just because of the stroke. Like the curved stroke doesn't look like super great. Like I'd probably just put regular text and maybe move it over here, or like make it like one line and put it across the whole bottom. And then you could probably use some like lighting and shading on each of these guys. Some like gradient lighting or something on these boxes. I guess you could leave this background image back here. Oh, it looks like 2 of them. You probably only need 1, so I'd remove this background image, just leave this one. The shadows under the feet look pretty good. Yeah, I would say for this one, just like mostly work on composition. Like it looks a little bit cluttered. So like you just don't need this much in one graphic. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures of him in the graphic, and you only need like 2 probably. I mean, you could use 3, like this one, and this one or something. But I don't really know like what you're going for. So depends on like what you're going for as well. I think you have too many pictures. I would remove like 2 of the pictures. I would remove the stroke off of the name and then maybe make it like 1 line across the bottom. Like maybe make it black since you have this white gradient coming up. Maybe make this black text. But yeah, cool idea. I would say just work on like composition and lighting. So yeah, that was Mike Graphics. He's got some other cool ones down here too. Kelsey Brothers, that's pretty good. Lastly, we've got this guy, Shinta Designs, Muzi, I guess. Let me know if I said that wrong. Muzi is your name, I guess. So he sent me these 2. They're the same graphic, just in different sizes. But I would say this one's like almost like compositionally almost good. So first of all, I hate that this is like touching the edge. So we need to bring this back off the edge a little bit. I mean, like, you know, I don't want to say don't ever do something or don't ever not do something, but to me, it's like almost never put something like right on the edge of a graphic like this, where it's like touching the edge. And see, like this is that same thing here. Like his head is like almost in line with his head. Like that kind of bothers me. Like I feel like you need to like move him over a little bit. He could even be like covering up match day just a little bit. But like compositionally, it could work. Your eyes go to here. His big head could be a little bit more like high detail of a shot. Also, I don't know how much detail this lost like when it got sent to me, but could be a little more detail of a shot. I like that as a background image. This, I don't know if it looks like it's like off-centered or something. Yeah, I feel like this black mask needs to be like moved over a little bit. Also, you've got it up here. I don't even think you really need it because you got it up here, or you just put it here in the center black mask FC and remove this, or to like put it down at the bottom smaller. And yeah, I would move this guy over to the right a little bit, or move this guy over to the left and flip this back cutout to where he's looking the other way. Again, like it could work. It blends all together well. Like the coloring you've got on it looks good. But yeah, the shading under the feet looks pretty good. I'm not really sure. Like this graphic like lost a lot of detail, I think, when it got sent to me through social media. So it's kind of hard to tell what he's like standing on and whatnot. Yeah, I would say like overall it looks pretty good. Like it looks pretty clean. This guy just needs to be moved over a little bit basically, and like covering up match day just a little bit so that like his head isn't like almost right in line with his head. You don't want things to be like right in line with each other like that, if that makes sense. Usually that is the case. I would say like not too bad. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good if you just moved him over. Oh, maybe give him like some shading from the back, like a drop shadow or something. Other than that, pretty clean graphic you got there, Muzi. Some of these other ones look cool too. So yeah, if you want to follow him, Shinta Designs, go check him out. Let's critique one of my designs. So let me just like critique one of mine as well. So in this graphic, like the composition is really not great. And I mean, I really like this graphic and it looks cool to me, but like, and this got used and like there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but like the composition could definitely be better because like his name right here, this logo and this text all are like the same size and compete with one another. And also his cutouts are like almost the same size and compete with one another. So like if I was critiquing my own graphic, I would maybe make him a little bit bigger or leave him as is and make this one a little bit smaller, this cutout, and then make his name a lot smaller and maybe the logo smaller as well. I think my eye goes here, 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 and then here, which works, but it's just all kind of the same size, so it like competes with each other. And ideally you don't have that. I'll just critique one more of mine just to do it. So I'd say like my eye goes here first. You see like his big cutout. I like this. His name's kind of hard to read. It works. It's a little bit hard to read though. So I could have made that a little bit more clear. So you read this first, go down, first team All-American, and then you have like the smaller cutout. So like it kind of works compositionally. Maybe your eye goes here next, because it's like you have this big one, and then like this is just more contrasty, this word or these words. Sometimes the name doesn't need to be like the biggest thing. Like yes, it's his award, I guess, but like a lot of the people that see this will already know who he is, and then like you kind of will get to that. Like at some point you'll like get to his name and you will be able to read it, like if you are paying attention enough. And then you have like the award down here. But yeah, so I mean, all this to say, like, composition is not gonna be perfect every time. I can critique my own stuff just like I'm critiquing y'all's stuff. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want me to do this again. And check out your boy's Patreon if you want to support me. I do have Photoshop files on there, but maybe you just enjoy the content and you're like, wow, this dude's cool. Let me support what he's doing, because I do put like a lot of time and effort into this stuff and money with like this setup. So yeah, if you want to support your boy, go hit up the Patreon. Yeah, I might be starting a like group chat thing for like some of the more exclusive patrons that we can all like kind of share graphics and like critique each other's stuff. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. I don't want to do it with like too many people, because I think it's just better to have a small group, and it'll just be a little bit different than like DMing me on social media, just because I try to stay off of social media sometimes, and like I'm not always on there. I'm not always gonna reply, and like I don't always have like the time. So let me know if you want to like kind of get a community going and jump in on that, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you.